Location: The Late Show with Stephen Colbert, New York City. The stage lights glimmered as the band wrapped up their tune and Stephen Colbert welcomed his next guest. Please welcome Academy Award-winning actress Jennifer Lawrence. The audience roared with applause as Jennifer stepped onto the stage, waving with a warm, practiced smile. Dressed in a sleek, deep emerald gown and effortlessly charming, she settled into the guest chair, crossing one leg over the other with grace. Stephen started off light. Jennifer, how does it feel to play a warrior queen and wrangle goats? In the same film, she laughed, the audience giggling along. You should have seen the goats, she joked. They had more screen presence than me. The crowd loved it. For the first few minutes, everything was smooth, celebrity charm, funny behind-the-scenes stories, playful jabs about past interviews. But then Colbert leaned forward, his expression shifting ever so slightly. The air in the studio changed. So, Jen, he began, tapping his cue cards, you've been quite outspoken lately. Politics, activism, pretty strong opinions on social media. Don't you ever worry people tune out when actors get too, well, preachy? The room fell still. Jennifer's smile froze. I'm sorry, preachy? She echoed, tilting her head slightly. Stephen chuckled to lighten the moment. I mean, look, you've got millions of followers. People admire you. But does every role come with a speech these days? Jennifer paused. Her eyes narrowed, not in anger, but clarity. She straightened her back, her tone cooling like a shifting wind. Well, Stephen, I speak up because people listen. Silence doesn't help people who are hurting. And if using my voice to stand up for basic rights offends some, maybe they should reconsider what offends them. There were soft murmurs from the audience, a few claps. Colbert raised an eyebrow, surprised. But don't you think there's a difference between awareness and preaching? The tension now had a pulse. Jennifer's jaw clenched. She turned slightly toward the audience, measuring her words. Privilege, she said, voice measured, is sitting behind this desk and using sarcasm to question why people care. I'm not performing. I'm speaking my truth. You could hear a pin drop. Colbert blinked. The audience looked from host to guest, sensing something unscripted was unfolding. The spark had been struck, and the air was about to catch fire. As the show returned from a commercial break, the atmosphere had shifted. Stephen Colbert, always sharp and composed, tried to steer the conversation back into friendly territory. So, Jennifer, he smiled, let's talk about that wild scene in your new movie. People are saying it's your boldest role yet. Jennifer leaned forward slightly, her expression unreadable. Is that what you want to talk about? A wild scene? Her tone carried a bite. Stephen, caught off guard, chuckled nervously. Well, it was in the trailer. I figured, she interrupted. Stephen, I came on this show thinking we'd talk about the work, the emotional core of the film, the trauma my character went through, the research I did. But so far, you've asked me about gossip. Who I'm dating and now a wild scene, the crowd murmured. Some looked at each other in surprise. Others clapped, unsure of whether they were witnessing a joke or a serious moment. Colbert tried to salvage it. Jennifer, we love you here. I was just trying to keep it light. But maybe that's the problem, she said firmly, her voice rising just a notch. We keep it light when women want to be heard seriously. Maybe that's why we keep ending up in these conversations. The tension on set thickened. The cameras panned between the two, capturing every twitch of discomfort, every shift in expression. Jennifer sat back, arms folded. I didn't walk through fire just to be reduced to clickbait. Colbert blinked, visibly tense. Fair enough, he said finally. You've made your point. For a few moments, the audience didn't know whether to laugh, clap, or stay silent. Jennifer's words had landed. They weren't about Stephen alone. They were about an industry that so often forgets to take women seriously when it matters most. And this wasn't over. Backstage buzzed like a shaken beehive. Jennifer Lawrence sat in the green room, her team hovering nearby, unsure whether to say anything. Her face was flushed, not with embarrassment, but with the raw intensity of someone who'd spent years being underestimated, interrupted, and spun into caricature by late-night hosts and red carpet culture. Back on set, Stephen Colbert had moved to a musical break, his normally effortless charm visibly rattled. The producers scrambled, whispering into earpieces, deciding whether to invite her back on or end the show without her closing segment. But social media wasn't waiting. Clips from the confrontation were already viral. One tweet read, "Jennifer Lawrence just burned Stephen Colbert down, live," and she was right. Another trended, "Not your punchline." Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, all exploded. Celebrities and fans alike began weighing in. Viola Davis tweeted a single word: respect. Emma Watson wrote, "It's exhausting when women must fight to be seen beyond surface." Jennifer handled that with grace and fire. Meanwhile, Colbert's team reviewed the footage in real time, debating damage control. Should he apologize publicly? Was this a PR nightmare or a teachable moment? Jennifer stood in the hallway, breathing deeply. A junior assistant handed her a phone. "Look," she said softly. Jennifer scrolled through the flood of support, her eyes scanning. Comments from young girls, activists, even industry veterans. She smiled faintly, more in disbelief than joy. She hadn't planned to make a statement. She had simply reached her limit. And somehow, by speaking out in that one unscripted moment, she'd sparked a much bigger conversation. The next morning, headlines across major outlets were all variations of the same story. Jennifer Lawrence walks out of Colbert's show after heated exchange. Late-night meltdown or long overdue stand. Jennifer Lawrence sparks firestorm on feminism in Hollywood. Jennifer woke up to hundreds of notifications, a phone ringing non-stop, and a statement request from almost every major news outlet. But she wasn't interested in spin. She wasn't interested in apologies. She sat at her kitchen table, sipping coffee, as her publicist nervously typed a potential statement. But Jennifer looked up and said calmly, "Let's not deflect. Let's just tell the truth." An hour later, a single Instagram post went live. For years, women in this industry, and every industry, have been laughed at, interrupted, or labeled too much when they speak their minds. Yesterday wasn't a meltdown. It was a, "Don't worry, I'm proud I said it. I won't be anyone's punchline." The post hit 1 million likes in under an hour. Stars reposted it. Activists referenced it. Late-night writers scrambled to reframe the tone of their jokes. Stephen Colbert, facing intense scrutiny, opened his next show with a candid monologue. "Sometimes, as comedians, we step over a line without realizing it. Last night I did. Just that, with someone I greatly admire. Jennifer, I hear you, I respect you, and I apologize." The apology trended too, but more importantly, the entire entertainment world paused to reflect. Media outlets started holding panels about tone, power dynamics, and the treatment of women in interviews. Jennifer didn't do more press. She didn't need to. Her silence was powerful. And as she walked onto the red carpet of her next film premiere, calm, unapologetic, stunningly composed, the photographers yelled her name not just to capture a photo. They wanted to capture a movement.